on, let's go, boy!
What is up, folks? We're back for another movie review, and we have an insane-ass movie, Bullet Train, directed by David Leitch. And if you know anything about David Leitch, he produced and actually directed one of our favorite movie series, John Wick.
Yep.
He did another movie that I enjoyed, and I think Sue enjoyed, Ninja Assassin.
Yes.
He unfortunately had a hand in being a second unit director for the King of Fighters movie. Yikes. Ew. But
Yeah.
But he also he did help out in Captain America Civil War. Yay. This guy this is the guy that did Hobbs and Shaw, which I loved. He did Deadpool 2, which I loved. He did Nobody, which you need to get your ass and watch Saul Goodman kick ass in that movie.
To which I after seeing Nobody, that's when I looked at the director and said, you know what? You are forgiven for King of Fighters.
Look. You got to crawl before you walk. Okay.
Oh, no. I'm totally fine with that. But I'm sorry. You took a huge franchise as the King of Fighters and you give us this.
I'm just saying, how do you go from Ninja Assassin, which is great, and then you do King of Fighters as your follow-up? Like, fuck.
That King of Fighters was just... You could have easily went to anyone who knows the lore, and you could have picked one. Hold on. Wait. You could have picked one of 3 storylines from King of Fighters, and you would have had a movie.
Well, to be fair, he was second unit director, which those are the people that kind of help out with the fights and all that stuff. So, but still, that is kind of like a black eye on your...
Oh, it's a black eye.
Black eye easily. But then again, he followed up with The Mechanic, which I'm like, you're forgiven because that's Jason Statham, and you can't fuck up a Jason Statham movie. And The Mechanic was actually pretty good. I loved it. So, but we're talking about Bullet Train, which I think me and you talked about it. You said it was Hateful 8 on a train, which you're very accurate.
No, I'll say it. This was the way I described this movie going into it, especially with the way that they introduced the characters. I'm like I leaned over to you and I said, bro, this is Hateful 8 on a train.
Yeah, and it definitely has a lot of Guy Ritchie isms with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And
a little bit of The Gentleman.
And I would even go so far as to say it has a lot of stuff that he did in Deadpool and even some of the John Wick stuff in terms of the way fight scenes in this movie are filmed. Mm-hmm. The whole movie is filmed on a bullet train, and you could say the train itself is a character in this movie in a way. And I think that's what works for the film, in the fact that since everything is concentrated on the train, the different train carts in the film, the train carts itself, they have character too. Like when they're in the food part of the train, it's like that's a character because the characters are fighting in that. They're in this part of the train. Like everything about the movie is very streamlined and structured and to the point. And the plot, as simple as it is, it just works. Yeah. It works all around. Like I don't have much of complaints about this movie. It just works. Honestly, I mean, what about you? Like it's kind of hard for me to really dive into it and really complain, to be honest.
I really don't have any I don't have like any hardcore complaints. I mean, this is definitely one of those movies where you're going to either love this movie or you're going to hate it. I like the way I went into it, through the eyes of someone that actually lived in the country that this movie takes place. And all I was really saying to myself was, man, this would have been nice if they actually filmed this in Japan. But...
Yeah, they got a lot of B-roll spot. They kind of did a lesser version of what Tokyo Drift did, where it looked like they did get a couple of B-roll shots of Japan, and it was like, all right, that's good enough. Take the ship back to LA, and it's like, all right, that makes sense.
Like 100%, because this film was done straight up at Culver Studios.
Because at least Tokyo Drift had a decency of when they did film. To Tokyo Drift's credit, they did film some shots, some places in Tokyo, but it was more like
a handful of it was
inside buildings.
It was definitely guerrilla filmmaking when they were in the streets, like between Shibuya and Shinjuku. But That
even
part
even the soccer field
like,
was like in Tokyo too as well.
Yeah,
Apparently,
like, between, like I said, a lot of it was like guerrilla filming, but that part where they showed the Evo 8 drifting up the mountain.
yeah, that was in L.A.
No, it wasn't.
I thought that was L.A.
No, that part where Han was teaching like Sean how to drift on the mountain. That was actually Japan. They filmed that in Gunma.
The final race was in LA.
Yeah, not the final race.
Yeah. My bad.
He was learning.
But either which way, at least Tokyo Drift split the time where it's like, oh yeah, you can. I think, and it made sense because they made it believable since they filmed some of those scenes in Japan that when they carried it over to LA, like the scene where the chase sequence in, I'm putting in quotes here, you can't see it, but in Japan, that was all LA. But to their credit, the way they added in certain things to make it look like Japan, it was believable to a degree.
Yep.
Obviously. So, but in Bullet Train, it's nothing but B-roll shots of Japan. Everything else is, like you said, it's filmed in the studio in LA. And I mean, you can see it obviously with the way the movie is filmed, but you know what? It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It really is.
It's definitely a summer popcorn movie. It's definitely a popcorn movie. Lots of entertainment value. Like, I'm not going to hold that against anybody. Pretty much everybody was on their A game with this movie. I believe everybody had fun with this movie.
Brad Pitt playing, was it Ladybug? You call him the unlucky, unfortunate assassin, where it's like the luck of the Irish was on his side throughout the whole fucking movie. And Brad Pitt knows how to play these type of characters. Like it's not quite the gypsy in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but it kind of has that little bit of isms to that a little bit in this film. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry playing Tangerine and Lemon. They're like Brit assassins and they're brothers, and they got a good dynamic going on, and it's pretty dope. I love it.
I need a movie with those two.
Oh yeah, their dynamic is fucking great with like Lemon talking about like Thomas the Tank Engine. That is a thing that carries over throughout the whole movie. And it's funny because it just works because it's like he's an assassin that has like, hey, this is how I judge people, by Thomas the Tank Engine. And it just works because he knows how to work that into it. And like I said, you can probably credit the writers of the movie that did the screenplay. I think it was Zach Okowitz that did the screenwriting for the movie. It works.
Yeah.
Because it shows the stark contrast between Tangerine and Lemon and how they go about things. Tangerine is very businesslike in his approach, and Lemon is businesslike to a degree, but he also, again, he holds on to that Thomas the Tank Engine way of
philosophies. My man breaks out when he breaks out the sticker pad, I was done.
You have
don't forget Diesel.
You have the father son, which is played by Father and the Elder, which the father and then the elder is his father, played by Andrew Koji, who you know from Warrior and Storm Shadow in the Snake Eyes movie that came out.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, yo, we got Storm Shadow back. Let's go.
You got Hiroyuki Sanada, who plays the elder. You've seen him in a lot of fucking movies, and he's great. He plays the elder. Their dynamic is great in the film because it's typical of what you see. You can probably say typical of what you see in Japanese melodrama kind of thing, with their dynamic. It works. We've seen it before. The son wants to prove to his father what he's capable of, and the father's doing the whole, if it was my son, I wouldn't have let that happen. And it's like, okay, movie, I'm fine with that. We know that's gonna happen. I'm not gonna tell you who Michael Shannon plays, but it is a shocker, so to speak, of like, oh, that's who he is. Didn't see that coming.
Yep.
Didn't see that coming at all. And he does figure into the movie as well. Bad Bunny is great as the wolf. It's what happens when you take a person who, I ain't gonna say Bad Bunny is the greatest actor. He's not. It's just you much like Ruby Rose was in John Wick 2. If you ever listen to our John Wick 2 podcast, they knew how to use Bad Bunny as an assassin, and you keep his lines straight and to the point.
Yeah, and it worked.
Don't give him any speaking role. Don't give him any long dialogue. Just keep it straight and to the point. Zazie Beetz as the Hornet, who she's a surprise when you see her in the movie. It's like, oh, interesting. And then rounding it out, you got Sandra Bullock as Ladybug's handler, who it's a very simple role, but it works because her camaraderie with Brad Pitt is great in the film. And there's two surprises. I'm not gonna spoil those two because the surprises of the other two actors that pop up in this movie. One of them is like, well, of course you're in this movie. Why wouldn't you be in this movie? And the other one is like, okay, that's hilarious. Why he's in this film?
Yeah. One person I wanted to point out was this person is pretty famous to Japan. I was very happy when I saw blonde-haired Fukuhara Karin.
Yes, Katana from Katana from Suicide Squad, and
she was
the chick from The Boys.
She played the concession girl who goes up and down the train.
And so it's funny. I know a lot of people. Some critics were like, "Oh, she was underused," and I'm like, "No, yeah, she doesn't have a major part, but like when she's in the movie, she knows how to like really like, oh, there's Karen. Hi, Karen. How's it going?" And it works. It's fine. Like, yep. I'm pretty sure she had fun with the movie because it's like, no, she isn't doing any action. She can actually be funny and quirky in a way, and yeah, I like her. It's great. I love the cinematography. It's kind of hard to pinpoint how they showed the train going through the countryside because it looked like it was definitely CG.
It was total CG.
But it's like the way the visuals of Japan that they show outside of it, it has a very cartoony look that works. I don't know if I'm saying cartoon. I don't know if you could say cartoony.
It's not necessarily cartoony. It's just really good CG.
Yeah, the visuals of
really
it.
Good CG to show you what what Japan looks like outside of Tokyo. Because I've been on a bullet train before, and yeah, when you're when you go going from Tokyo to Osaka or something, yeah, you're seeing the whole countryside for what it is, and it does look like something out of a Miyazaki film, you know what I mean?
It does.
The way they made it look in this movie, I'm like, yeah, that's actually how Japan looks. The moment you get out of the damn city, this is what it looks like.
I mean, even down to, because I look to you on this one, even down to because there are minor details in this movie that I think for you, since you were in Japan, you actually liked, like the train conductor and how he looked at Brad Pitt like, yo, get the hell off the train when you get to your stop. That little moment. You looked at me and was like, that's exactly how they are on the train.
I was like, yes.
And I know somebody might look at that as like, oh, it's just a movie. But for somebody like you or maybe other people that have been on those trains, that little detail is like, that's great. That's perfect.
When I saw that, I was like, thank you. Thank you for keeping the accuracy there. I appreciate it.
In that play, I'm not saying it necessarily plays a part in the movie, but there's a couple of moments with the train conductor where he's like, God damn it, why are you on this train? What the fuck are you doing here? Get up. No, off.
It's like, come on, get off, buy another ticket. No, you can't buy one here. Go buy one at the ticket stand.
But past those little details, but like I said, the way the movie weaves in all these big cast of all these basically cult of personalities on this train, it works. It doesn't feel overwhelming because they kind of do it one thing at a time. Like when we see Tangerine and Lemon, is when he passes by, is when Ladybug passes by them, and we see their dialogue, and then the movie kind of intertwines how they play a part in Ladybug. Even was it Joey King's character, the Prince, who is like this schoolgirl character. She factors into it because I would give the movie credit. You didn't buy for a second she was innocent.
No.
But you were really kind of wondering what's her end goal.
Dude, the moment she shows up, the moment I saw her appear in the movie, I just said, oh, you are full villain, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's you're full villain wrapped in a cute package. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And look, this movie is rated R, and it wears its R rating on its sleeve big time.
Yeah, it does.
And it's worth it. And I mean, look, I like the fact that Antoine Fuqua helped produce this movie because that's also another guy that can do no wrong in my book with the movies he puts out. I mean, look at The Equalizer. I fucking love that movie.
Yes.
I mean, look, has he had a stinker? Yes, King Arthur. I'm looking at you, but still, It's this man knows what he can bring to the table here, and god damn it, he makes sure to make you worth it. And like I said, I think this is a simple and clean movie. You'll like it. I'm buying this shit on fucking Steelbook. You goddamn right, I'm buying this shit.
I told you this is a day one Steelbook purchase.
I mean, because I like it's one of those situations where Bullet Train, like John Wick, it's what happens when you just keep your shit simple and you film it well. Because even the fights in this movie are brutal as shit. Yep. I love it, and that's how it should be. It's like, yo, if you can give me some fights that are brutal as hell and it doesn't feel jump cutty, I'm with it.
Bro, we have I'm so glad that we have graduated from shaky cam fight scenes. Look, I know I've mentioned this in the past, but I'm so glad we are over that era.
The Bourne Identity really, I rewatched the Bourne Identity recently, and it hurts me to watch. It hurts me at times to watch the jump cuts in that film, especially when people were touting that. And I go back to Ninja Assassin. I love Ninja Assassin. And I know there were some people that complained about the CG in certain fights, and I get that. But like, Ninja Assassin didn't feel jump cutty compared to like fucking Bourne Identity. It's like, yo, if you just show the fight, like, don't jump cut that shit. Like, even some of the Marvel films, like the Captain America movies, like I pointed out with Winter Soldier and Civil War, and this is the same director that helped out in those movies. Those fight scenes in those movies were dope as shit.
Yeah, they were all solid.
You know, even Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness between Strange and what's his face? Mordo when they were in that pit. No jump cuts. We just saw them fucking beating the shit out of each other for a minute before Strange said, "All right, let me parkour out of this pit." You know.
But until then, I'm giving you these hands, these mystical hands.
Yeah, like, I think it's show it and trust that your stunt workers can make it work. You know, and Brad Pitt and them and the stunt workers of this movie, they brought it. You know, they made it believable, you know, and it was great.
Because honestly, those are some of the best action set pieces that take place is in a train, because you're talking about tight corners, not a lot of room to move, and you got to make it look good. You got to be creative.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to be creative, and like I said, even down to when you get somebody like Andrew Koji, who was in Warrior. If you watch that movie, I would give credit to the fact that he was able to flex what he's done in Warrior in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, and I think that's credit, like I said, that's credit to Lech, because him being a stunt worker himself, he knows how to film these fight scenes.
I agree. You know who else could have been really good in this? You know, late great Brad Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I should bring up Shang-Chi. The fight choreographer for that one was a former Jackie Chan stunt worker alongside Brad Allen. And when you look at Shang-Chi, look, I know some people say, oh man, it's basic, but I'm like, even basic works. Like that whole fucking look. I've rewatched Shang-Chi so many damn times, and that fucking bus fight is still like great to me.
It's up there. That fight scene alone is up there.
The bus fight, and even the fight when they're in that city in China on the building was dope as shit. Like,
the freaking bamboo.
The Rush Hour 2 bamboo shit. Like that, and like I said, that speaks to the fighting choreographer, because he helped out on Rush Hour 2, and it's like, yeah, of course he's gonna use that, because that's some Rush Hour 2. It's like if Marvel got Jackie Chan to be the fight choreographer for Shang-Chi, it's like, yeah, that'll be some Jackie Chan shit. Just throw that in there. Of course. Yeah. Got you, you know. And yeah, like I said, if you know David Lech, I want him to do more. Because even because he's only directed like 6 movies, and that's John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, Nobody, and Bullet Train, right? Even those 6 movies, I would say the weaker of those movies would probably be Atomic Blonde. But even Atomic Blonde was entertaining as shit to me.
Damn, I should have picked that one up on Steelbook.
Yeah, Atomic Blonde was actually not bad. It was actually, you know, the only issue was it was just more so in terms of how the story kind of turned out. But it is what it is, you know. You take it for what it is. But, you know, I fucking love Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
I take that to my grave. It was great, and that's the funny thing. Even Hobbs and Shaw didn't have fucking jump cuts when you look to that final fight between Idris and Rock and Statham and shit, you know. But that's a director that worked to the strengths of those actors.
That was a solid movie on its own, and honestly, it deserves a sequel.
Yeah, so I you know what? I'm not saying Bullet Train should get a sequel. I think the way it turns out, you don't need to do a sequel.
Honestly, considering that this is based off of a book, I would say yes. Leave it as just this movie. You know, this movie, it reminded me of another movie that we saw earlier this year, The Bad Guys. Don't need a sequel. Tell your story and be done with it. Yeah. I don't care how much money this movie makes. I do not need a sequel.
Keep it at one.
Keep it at one and leave it at that.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes you have to, and I think that also speaks to the fact that that's why there's no Atomic Blonde 2, because they were just like, you know what, we made our movie, we don't need any more. Really don't. Like, why make Atomic Blonde 2? And it's the same with like Nobody. Nobody doesn't need a sequel.
Doesn't need a sequel. Don't do it.
And I think I gotta be honest with you. I think John Wick lucked out because you can do more movies, and it's kind of like the exception to the rule kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Well, John Wick is a different story because that's literally because wasn't John Wick like a series of books?
No, it's original.
Okay. Because like the way they had chapter 1, chapter 2, I'm like, wait, did they make a book out of this?
No. It's just I think John Wick, because the way it structured itself from what the first movie established of this world of assassins.
Gotcha. You know what? Say less. I got you. It's literally them writing a book as a movie, and
it lends itself to like, hey, maybe we can make, because like I said, they got John Wick 4, and it's like that makes sense because you can do shit in this world, even with that spinoff that they're doing with the hotel. It's like, yeah, I can see them doing a little 2-season show about the hotel because you can do kind of like an anthology of following different assassins. All right, cool. I'm with that. You know, it's something that you can structure. But I think with Bullet Train, it works because, funny enough, even when the movie jump cuts to the backstory on the assassins, it's just enough to where you're like, you know what? That's good enough. I know what their overall journey is and what they want to do. Cool. Got you.
Like, I got the assignment. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't need, like, even though they could have like literally pulled some Kill Bill stuff where you're seeing like 20 minutes, like 20 to 30 minutes of backstory on each character that they introduce.
Mm-hmm.
You know that this movie could have done it.
Could have.
I'm glad you didn't do it, but you know it was there. That energy was there.
So yeah, definitely could have did that. So, but yeah, definitely go check out Bullet Train. It's worth checking out in theaters. We saw it in IMAX. It looked fucking phenomenal and great.
Yes, please go see it in IMAX. It's an experience.
I mean, look, I totally forgot Sony is doing this, and at times you forget Sony does have other movies that's not Spider-Man related. So kudos to them for putting out this film and getting it distributed. You know, this is great. We need more of these type of movies out here. You know.
Yeah, just good movies.
Yeah. So
give us more of this, please, studio.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, anyways, that is it, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.